find the sock?
My second sock.
You can't find the second sock?
No. It's in...
Wait, that must be like your subconscious way of being like, this is going in timeout.
It was in a bag. Like, it was in a little project bag, but I don't know what I did with the project bag.
Got it.
Hi, and welcome to episode 12, I got it this time,
Ooh.
of M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers podcast. I'm Jamie, also known as m1yarns.com and M1 Yarns everywhere on social media, etc.
And I am Danielle, as you may know and remember. Also known as Danielle Crafts 08 on Instagram and Ravelry. And you can also find me on Facebook just by my name, Danielle Stringer. If this is your first time viewing or visiting us, please consider liking and subscribing. And don't forget to click that bell so you can get notifications when we post new episodes. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. We are glad to be with you this day on this sunny Detroit day.
That's
because
right.
We forgot to say we were from Detroit.
Yep.
And Jamie is the dyer behind M1 Yarns, and I'm just the maker of all things. And we have a very special guest today.
Yes,
you
we
all
do.
may already know Miss Natalie, also known as
Detroit Nuts.
Detroit Knots. So Natalie, we are so excited to have you here today.
This is going to be fun.
This is
is
going
like
to be
literally-
so fun.
This is literally over a year in the making.
Yes, the pandemic is we all know everything is because of the pandemic. But when Jamie and I first started our podcast, we talked about a lot of people that we wanted to have visit the show because it is M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers. And so we wanted to bring in not only Michigan makers, but makers within the making community, whether it's yarn or if they make something else. So just so happened, Ms. Natalie here is from Detroit, just like me. And she is our she's our second Michigan maker because we had Gwen. She's our second Michigan maker that we are having today on the podcast.
So welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So should we go back to the beginning of how we all met?
Well, let's start with what we're wearing.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Then we'll talk about how we met because I think we met at different times. And then we'll talk more about Natalie's projects and things that she has going on, what we have going on. And yeah, that's it. So what are you wearing?
I'm wearing the Framework Bralette, which I mentioned last time. This is a Jessie Maed design, and this is Asylum Fibers yarn. And, yeah. Oh, and I'm wearing earrings from Designs by Yasmin in my Tunisian Desert colorway, which we'll talk about.
So cute.
Thanks.
I'm actually wearing the same thing. I am wearing the Framework Bralette by Jessie Maed, and my yarn is SoJaneHappy. This was a scrap buster. So I've had this yarn in my scraps for a while since I made my Sodana, and I've always been looking for projects to actually do with it, and I haven't found the perfect project until I decided to do this. And I can say this is actually one of my favorite, most perfect knits. It fit perfectly the first time. I didn't have to make any adjustments. I nailed the straps right away. I knit enough for the body, and I'm just really excited. I just hope I remember how much I knit for the body. I think it was like 9 inches.
Well, you can measure it.
Yeah, I guess I can do that too, right? I can measure it to see, but I am planning to make another, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when we start to talk about yarn.
Oh, my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
I'm picking up drop stitches, so don't mind me over here.
Okay.
You drop stitches every time.
Right.
I am wearing my Tango wrap. It's actually one of my designs. So it is made in Lion Brand's Truboo, which is like a bamboo yarn, bamboo blend.
Can I feel it? I haven't seen everyone stitch with it. Sorry, I'm not trying to grab you.
No, it's
that feels really nice.
I love it because it's really light. It actually keeps you kind of cool, like the bamboo for like the hot weather.
Now,
And
you've knit a couple things with that yarn before, right?
no,
Ooh, feels good.
Why did I?
no, this is the only thing I've made in Truboo.
Okay.
I do have something coming up in Nuboo.
They got a Truboo, a new boo.
That's like your side booth thing that we were
Truboo,
talking about.
Nuboo, Koboo.
Kind of like Fubu.
Kind of, yeah.
but not.
They're not.
Yeah. So
It's
this
line brand.
This came out last year. I think this came out last year. Last year, August. So it's almost been a year since it's been out.
It feels like it's been out longer
It
than
feels
that.
good. Probably
Like,
because of the other boo. Because it's all, booing. So you've been
no, I
reading
mean
about them.
the design, because I've seen so many beautiful versions of it made on Instagram.
The design?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I keep reposting it. Why not?
Yeah, I love it. Like, keep on.
You're good
reposting.
at that. I'm not. So let's talk about Natalie. Let's talk about how we met and how we arrived here. So, Natalie and I met, oh my God, it was a long time ago.
That's about right.
It seems like it was about 2016.
That might have been when I
or
met
17.
both of you. But I think you and I, like, started talking because I was helping you find a yarn.
And we went to the Sip and Stitch.
Yeah.
And the one that we went to was a very small one. It was like maybe 4 of us, and I think it was like me, you, Tina, and Kirby.
Yeah.
And Natalie wasn't there. So this one was a bigger one, but Natalie and I, we communicated online before we actually met in person. That's just kind of like the cadence of relationships now. You meet online, you communicate, and then you meet in person. So, yeah, so we met maybe like 2016. Yeah.
That was a while ago.
It was a while ago. And the community seemed really small at the time.
It did.
It seemed really small at the time, and I know something that Natalie and I realized was that Black people were a part of this community. It was like we met each other, and then this whole world just kind of opened up. Would you say that's the same for you?
Absolutely. It was like, wait, you love yarn and you look like me.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Wow.
And then we started finding other people
Yep.
through each other.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, I think what attracted me was not that you were someone Black and you loved yarn, but you had Detroit in your name. Because that was another thing, like finding other people in our area that loved yarn as much as we do. And I knew that you had a business. I was just a person just doing yarn, as my kids call it, doing yarn. And you had an actual like business, and we're doing like markets and stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't actually fully designing at that time. I was making product for markets.
So I guess that's a good question. So when did you start designing, and what kind of, like, was the nudge?
The nudge was the dislike of making the same thing over and over again. And then going to markets and then coming home with stuff. Like, no, I'm so over that. Like, the idea is you make the stuff and people will buy the stuff, and then you make more.
Right.
But no, like, every time I came home with things. And at that time, I actually thought that I was allergic to wool. So everything I made was made out of acrylic.
Okay.
And then I had a lot of people wanting, like, natural fibers, and I'm like, I'm not touching that stuff. So, but then it just kind of phased out. But then as far as, like, the designing goes, I was always technically designing because I never followed a pattern. And I would change pretty much everything.
So it's more so about you like documenting your design as opposed to like freehand, because I've actually seen you do that. I've seen you like start something and it'll be like something small, and then you will take it out like, nope, don't like that. Like, I've seen your process in person just from us like meeting up and doing things.
Yeah, the frogging.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I'm honestly only okay with frogging because of this
but
one
because
over
of
here.
and I've seen her do it. I've seen her not like something and frog. So I guess this would be a good time for us to have a sip and talk about your fiber journey. How did you become Detroit Knots?
Oh, okay. So I went through when I started making like products. So I actually got into yarn when I was like 5. So I was at my neighbor's house, just a couple of doors down from where I grew up, and I was playing with her granddaughter, and we were like all over the place, like just busy. And she was like, no. I need to find something for y'all to do before y'all tear something up. And she sat us down and gave us hooks and yarn and taught us how to chain. So everything was like this endless chain. And then I was like, okay, there has to be more to this.
You're like making the string that goes around a Christmas tree or
Just kept
something.
going.
I actually think that's kind of how a lot of people started. Like, there's got to be more to this.
Yeah, but then she actually taught us how to single crochet. So then I made like a single crochet scarf, and it was like wonky, of course. And then, as kids do, I'm just like, okay, I'm done with that. And then over the years, I would pick it up here and there. And then one year I needed a Secret Santa gift at work, and I couldn't find this like shade of blue anywhere. It was gonna be a hat and scarf set.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't find a shade of blue that I wanted, and so I was like, wait a minute, I got a hook. I'm gonna go get some yarn, and I still knew nothing about gauge or like yarn weights or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Joann's and I picked like this bulky yarn. I'm like, this is gonna be fast, except for the fact that all I had was an H hook. So it was a struggle with bulky yarn and an H hook, but I made this hat and scarf set, and I gave it, and she loved it. I don't know if I'm sure she's not still wearing it. That was forever ago. I hope she's not still wearing it. And it was awful, but she loved it because I made it. And so that's kind of like how I got into it. Then I started making things for people at work, and then the markets, and then like I'm done with that. And I actually went through a few names. We won't go over them because they're all awful.
Coming up with a name is hard.
It's very hard.
It is. It's very hard.
It took me like 6 months to figure out M1 Yarns, and it like was like a lightning bolt. But then we struggled to figure out a podcast name.
Well, because I told you that I wasn't going to even try to figure it out. Because for me, it's really hard to name things, people, animals, things. I'm just terrible at it. I always say one of my good friends named my dog, and I came up with one name for Raven. She was going to be Raven if she was a girl. If she was a boy, she was going to be Reggie. And that was it. I wasn't about to sit down and write names. Yeah. And then the middle name I asked Reggie to come up with because, again, I was just too afraid to be responsible for that. He came up with it. He was scrolling Instagram, saw a girl named Desi that made cakes. Desi, that's it. And we moved on. But you said you won't say any of the names that you had.
No, they were awful.
They were awful?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I was going through some of them with like some coworkers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my coworkers said, this sounds like something you would name an insane asylum. Okay, we're going to, squash that.
That's not the vibe you're going for?
Not at all. So there was one day where my husband and I were talking about moving. And we were talking about moving. I was talking about moving out of the city. And he was like, no, we're not moving out of the city. We're always going to live in Detroit. And I was like, okay. But at the same time we're having this conversation, I'm frogging a project. And so while he's talking about his love of Detroit, I'm taking this, this project apart. And he was like, why are you doing that? Like, totally freaking out. I was like, because I don't like it, so it has to go.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, those knots. And that's where my name came from.
Nice.
We were talking about Detroit, and I was ripping out knots.
There you go.
Oh, that's good. See, it's always those little moments where you get, like, the best names. And, I don't feel like I ever have those little moments. You asked me about a colorway name. I'm like, listen, I am not the one.
You know what's so funny you say that? Because this morning I was twisting up a bunch of yarn that I dyed this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I this week I was dyeing something and inspiration struck, so I came up with a new colorway. And I was like, I gotta figure out a name for this because I gotta hurry up and make labels to put on it.
Oh my god, that is so cute.
Thanks. And I was like, what am I gonna call it? I had like 30 seconds of anxiety, and then it just came to me. And now I forget what it was. Cherry Harvest.
Mm.
So, I don't know. It's like a little Michigan,
Yeah, I was about to
Michigan
say,
cherry.
now I did make that connection immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it has some of the tones that's in my harvest. I have a whole harvest line, so it just fit. But yeah, it just comes to you like, like a lightning bolt. I mean, I think what's really cool about your name, Natalie, is your Instagram name, your business name, your brand name, I should say, is that it's like very descriptive yet super short and sweet.
Mm-hmm. And again, because your name was Detroit Knots, that's why I started following you. And I feel like I started following you on Facebook before Instagram. But that's why I started following you, because it was that connection between this yarn community that I didn't know exists. Now I know this community exists within, you know, my local community.
And a lot of people say that they find me because of my name. Like searching hashtags, and they're like, wait, Detroit and yarn? And so that's how a lot of people find me that way. I'm glad that I stuck with the name.
Yeah.
I know I'll be happy when we can start doing the sip and stitch again.
You know,
I would imagine would be soon.
I was gonna text you guys yesterday because I was thinking, man, you know, now that the weather is gorgeous, we should like at least meet like downtown at a park or something, or like somewhere where there's like picnic tables and we can, you know, just hang.
So Knit in Public Day, which I think they need to change the name of that. Should be Yarn in Public.
They are changing
Fiber in Public. They are.
Yeah, it's like Stitch in Public.
Stitch in Public. Okay, that's perfect. See, I'm calling it something else, and Stitch in Public sounds better than what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I think that day is coming up, and
I think it's June. Is it
June 12th? Yeah, it's June 12th. So a couple weekends from now.
Yeah,
it'll be happening. Is that a Saturday or Sunday? Do we know? Okay,
I do know that
this is
Detroit Knitting and Crochet Club. They are organizing something that day.
Yeah, so they usually do something at the Riverwalk. Yeah. So I may try to make it to something this year.
So dialing it back to like how we all met. So I think worth noting, like when we all really like gelled was when we decided to go to Ohio to see Gigi. She was speaking at Around the Table Yarns, and that road trip was like
so fun.
It was like 3 hours there, 3 hours back, and we just had the music going and talking like the whole way.
Yeah,
I know it was funny because you two were talking about it. You were planning to go.
Yeah.
And I chimed in like, you are not leaving me.
Yeah.
I'm going to. Like, I just invited
Natalie,
myself.
yeah, that was the one funny thing. So Natalie sent me an inbox like, you know I'm going, right? And I'm like, yeah, of course.
Great.
Why not? I mean, I didn't care who went. But I didn't know you were driving your little bitty Mini Cooper at the time. But
that was funny.
We had so much fun. But the funny part was when we were at Starbucks. And we all walked in, and the lady was like, "Are you all separate?" And I'm like, "But equal," because she was looking at us like, "Okay, are you all?" Like everywhere we went, people were kind of surprised that we were together. Like when we were at Chipotle, they're like, "Are you together?" And I was like, "So what do you mean by together?" Like,
right.
We're friends. What are you talking about?
I wanted to say something so out of
Wasn't
pocket
it
each
crazy
time.
though? But when she said, "Are you all separate?" and I'm like, "But equal." But yeah, everybody just kept looking at us like everywhere we went, wondering if we were like hanging out together. And I'm like,
It'll probably still happen.
Yeah.
Until people like really get it. I'm just gonna start telling people we're sister wives.
Oh, I like that.
They would love that. I'm telling you, people love a good story. People love a good story. They will love that.
And then to say something like that's good because it's so like shocking. It forces people to stop and actually like think, you know, in a conscious way.
Right.
And so for me, like you would say that, but then I would say, what is in your unconscious bias telling you to ask this question
that you
right
need
now?
to ask the question.
Yeah, that's what I would
I
wonder.
think that would be the purpose of me saying something like that, to get them to think about the fact that they shouldn't have asked the question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they need to be asking themselves more questions.
Yeah, because when I think something, you know, check your bias has been such a buzzword, but it's such a real thing because I know for me sometimes I have to check my own bias. So Natalie, I see you are you working on a new design or an old design? You make that look so
old
seamless. I tried Tunisian Crochet and I could not get it that seamless. I don't know if it was my tension
That's where I struggled.
I felt like it was it really tight or loose?
It was
for you?
loose, but
mine was really tight.
Mm.
And I had new hooks and everything, and actually gifted those to someone, but I had a whole thing, and
but you don't,
I just literally couldn't get through it.
You don't continental knit.
No, and I'm not.
And I think that's like, see, watching her do that.
I mean, I crochet, so
but
I know how to like, hold it like that, but I just felt like my gauge was so tight. And you know what? It could have been the yarn that I was using.
Did you have bulky yarn and an H hook?
No. You know, I did have some, another I had a big box yarn. So it was acrylic. And it wasn't as bouncy. And I feel like you need something that's more bouncy to get through it. No.
So what design did you say that was, Natalie?
Is it a secret?
I really wasn't told it.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're not gonna say what kind of design it is just yet. See, this is what she does. Like when you're hanging out with her, she's working on designs, and she doesn't tell you the name of it, and then it comes out. And you're like, oh, that's that thing you were working on, which is perfectly fine because a lot of times we don't want to announce things before,
or we can't.
They're ready, or we can't.
Most of the time, I don't mind telling people what I'm working on. Other times I actually can't.
Right.
Like I'm under contract.
Right. That makes sense.
And so there's a lot of things that I can't talk about because there's a lot of stuff coming up next week that I can't say anything about, and I'm like itching to tell y'all what's this.
Okay.
And we won't say anything.
So we should just, I'll insert a few photos of some of Natalie's designs so you can get a flavor of her aesthetic and all the beautiful things that are in her repertoire, in your collection.
I actually don't have that many designs out.
But they are so timeless that
it
seems like they continue to reinvent themselves each season. To me, like they just continue to come up.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So let's kind of talk about. So it's a couple things since we were on Tunisian Crochet. When we first met, were you into Tunisian or were you just getting started? Because I felt like I was around when you were getting started with Tunisian, then designing in Tunisian.
I really did just start then.
Yeah, I felt like that was the case. And so why Tunisian crochet?
Because the movements are really soothing to me. And I can work pretty fast with finger and weight yarn.
With Tunisian.
With Tunisian crochet. Yeah.
Scaffold?
Yeah.
Oh, and it matches my lunch.
And typically people think that Tunisian crochet is like really dense and thick, but it doesn't have to be. And like my whole thing is like showing people that Tunisian crochet doesn't necessarily have to be a washcloth. I do not make washcloths. I've never made a Tunisian crochet washcloth.
I only make our dishcloths.
I mean, that's great. But I'm trying to get people to see that Tunisian crochet is like not just washcloths or blankets. Like you can make full-on garments with it. You don't have to just do like a little headband. There's so much more that can be done with it.
So would you say, like, if you were to make a pie chart of your fiber time, because you also knit, what percentage of each craft would be like your ideal balance?
60, 30, 10 maybe.
60 Tunisian,
30 regular crochet, and 10 knitting.
10, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You know, so far as knitting is concerned, I do remember you and I both being primarily crocheters. We had talked about learning to knit around the same time. And we were talking about how nervous we were because of the stitches falling off. Because in crochet, you know, there's no stitches falling off. And so we had a hard time, like, keeping the stitches on the needles. And that was our biggest thing. But we then joined Knit Along with Knititude to make, it was a My Beginner Raglan or something like that. And we started at the same time, and we actually conquered knitting, and not only knitting, but knitting a garment. And I took a page from your book for this sweater. I went short sleeves.
Oh, yeah.
Because I said, you know what? I am actually tired of knitting the sleeves, and I want to wear this soon. And so I'm actually going to finish this sleeve tonight, and it's going to be a short sleeve sweater.
Yeah, I don't like sleeves.
So you've been spreading the Tunisian crochet joy during the pandemic in particular by teaching for Vogue. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, well, what do you want to know? So I developed a few classes for, to teach virtually through Vogue. Tunisian Crochet Basics, which is just like the first basic 3 stitches. And then beyond the basics, where I go into stitch patterns and changing color and increasing, decreasing, things like that. And then there's also mosaic Tunisian crochet, and then converting regular crochet charts into Tunisian crochet.
Oh, wow. So you can learn quite a bit through these Vogue classes. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, when you talk about developing a course, do you actually write the curriculum, or do they tell you, hey, this is what we want you to teach, run with it, or you say, hey, this is what I'm going to teach, and here's how I'm going to do it?
Yeah, I do the curriculum.
Okay. That's like super teacher talk, because
Right.
I don't know why for me that I don't know why that was important to me, but when I hear that someone's teaching something,
it's the weekend.
I know when I hear that someone's teaching something, I'm like, okay, so how did you go about developing what you're going to teach? Because that's just kind of what I do Monday through Friday. Well, now Sunday.
Yeah.
I know today is Sunday, and I'm asking you about.
Well, but it really is coming up with the curriculum for it. So when I have an idea for a class, I sit down and I think about what my process was when I learned, and then I translate that into a handout, and then walk through like what I would say in the process of teaching someone else how to do it.
Okay. Yeah, that's good lesson planning. It's good lesson planning, because you can do something, you can be great at something, but that doesn't mean that you can teach somebody to do it, right? Like, I want to come and watch you dye yarn. Like, I want to come, and I'm sure I can do that at any time, but just come watch what the process is. It's different from watching YouTube and seeing someone do it and being able to, like, come in person and do it. Would I have to wear one of those masks?
Only for, like, a very minute part.
Okay.
Where anytime that you have the loose powder out, and until it's mixed with water, if the jar's open, you need the mask on.
Oh, maybe I can do like my own colorway.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh, that would be fun. And Natalie, I know you dyed yarn. You had like a kit or something that you were trying out, and you dyed some yarn.
I wouldn't say I dyed some yarn.
Did the yarn turn colors?
It did.
It was dyed.
Okay. But I will try something, and then I will leave it up to the people who know how to do it.
Try anything once, right?
Yeah.
It's fun, but it is also like labor intensive.
It seems to be labor. I mean, and we get this yarn and we buy it and we're like, oh, is this color so beautiful? But we don't know the work. I mean, obviously Jamie knows the work behind making beautiful yarn.
Yeah. Days I dye, I don't work out. Like, I'm sore by the end of the day.
Really?
Yeah, you're lifting a lot of buckets of wet yarn and hot pans, and there's a lot of like rinsing and.
Okay, I think I don't want to see
like
that.
Wet yarn in buckets. Like, we're thinking
I can imagine.
We're thinking of
it
in terms of like, oh, I'm gonna do this like 1 or 2 skeins of yarn.
I usually never dye less than like I might do 4 skeins at a time if it's just like I need something, small
really
quantity
quick.
or whatever. But generally, I like to dye in like 8 or 16 or 20. Some like 8 is my minimum. But and then if you add speckles, that's like another pass on the yarn. So yeah, there's all sorts of different ways.
But that's like a regular dye day. Like if you're preparing for a show.
Yeah, that's different.
Right.
right?
That's a lot.
And so when we think about indie dyers and we're doing things like bugging them about shipping, that's when we need to check ourselves, because when we think about Jamie and we think about other indie dyers, we think about Adela of Lola Bean. These are like not teams of people doing something super labor intense for you to bring into your home and hoard and not use for a very long time, you know what I mean? And use it whenever you're ready. You have to think about the work that has been put into giving you this finished product.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't do anything for anybody if it has anything to do with yarn.
Yeah.
Because it's too much.
Yeah. That's why I don't sell like physical product online, because I don't want to make it.
And really, people balk at like how much, you know, something honestly should be priced at. To recognize the time and energy and all the little things that go into it. So do you feel like designing and making a career out of being a designer has kind of detracted from some of the joy, or it's expanded your joy because you see your designs in the world and your teaching spreading the love?
For me, it's expanded it.
Nice.
It's definitely expanded. Every time someone comments and says, I tried Tunisian Crochet because of you, like, that brings me joy. Or when someone posts a picture of themselves wearing one of my designs and they're like, I feel great in this. I design garments that fit everybody.
Which is important.
And that they feel good in. Like, just because you're an extra small doesn't mean you want to wear a tent. Just because you're a 5X doesn't mean you want to wear a tent. I don't make
Exactly.
tents.
Yeah.
I know.
And your designs have, I mean, I think Danielle hit the nail on the head earlier. They are classic and timeless. But they are also, I love, it's like a perfect balance of casual and sexy. Like, like the top that you have on, I love the V. You know, whether you're wearing it with a tank or a bralette or something, is just like, has that little sense of like giving a vertical draw. But it's simple enough, you know, you could wear it on a Saturday morning, like grocery shopping, you know, and you don't feel like, you know, you're looking weird grocery shopping and something beautiful. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
you're not overdressed, you're not underdressed.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that you can be comfortable and sexy at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you like to describe yourself, was it librarian sexy?
Sexy librarian. That is my style.
I love that.
So
appeal and also a little modesty, depending on what I'm in the mood for.
That's how I feel in this tank. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not your grandma's knit right here. This is like super modern, and that's another thing that I actually love about what's happening in the yarn community is that no one's looking like their grandma made it. And it doesn't look like old-fashioned. It's like totally into today's trends. I know when I'm knitting something, I'm always thinking about how I'm going to style it. I know Jamie and I talk about that a lot. Like when I'm making something and if I don't see myself styling it in a good way, I won't finish it.
I'm terrible at that.
Are you?
Absolutely.
Why do you say that?
Because I will make something that I like. I don't think about how I'm going to style it, how I'm going to take photos of it. It's just like the day I decide I'm going to take photos of it, I put something together.
Okay.
And stand in front of the camera. I'm starting to think that way, I should say, because I have an idea for a design. I have not even made it yet, but I see the styling, I see the photos, I see the location of the photos and everything. So I'm really excited when it comes to
So
fruition.
that's a good transition to like things on the horizon for you that you can talk about.
Oh, okay. Well, but
That's okay.
this is
Those colors are so pretty.
this is something that's coming up. I have not finished writing the pattern for this.
Okay.
Because I need to make sure that I get it right.
I think people who buy patterns appreciate that.
So for right now, this is called the Tunisian bias top. That is like really creative.
Mm-hmm.
The name will probably change, but this is all Tunisian Crochet, and this is made out of Lion brand Nubu.
Nice.
Not old boo. Nubu.
It's got that beautiful sheen
I love
to it.
this. This feels good.
Oh, it does.
This feels
So
good.
it feels kind of heavy when you hold it in your hand, except for it feels like you're wearing nothing when you have it on.
Okay.
So it's very light. It's very cooling. Like when I first put it on, I was like,
Yeah.
Is it wet? Like I thought it was wet because it was really
It feels cool, yeah.
My
That's cool.
stitch marker got stuck to my bracelet.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. But when it's done, it'll be graded in 9 sizes. So from 28-inch bust to 65,
Positive ease.
2 to 4 inches.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Gotta have room.
Yeah.
For the girls.
Gotta have room.
What would you say the skill level is for that?
I would say an advanced beginner. Like if
Okay.
you've done Tunisian crochet stitches, you can do it. You're just following shaping.
Okay.
I've done Tunisian crochet stitches, like, 1 row.
When?
It was a few months ago, remember? I bought a set of hooks.
When did you buy
Now
those?
this is, I text you, I ordered.
I know, but I can't remember when.
It was probably like right in the beginning of the year. And I got my yarn. I probably have paired the wrong yarn to the wrong hook.
I think that's what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So you need to use a hook
Gotta make
that
sure
is
my little.
at least 2 sizes larger than what's recommended for the yarn.
interesting. Okay. That's a
And
great
I don't
tip.
know if I did that.
That's a
honestly.
really important tip.
I think I did the exact opposite of that. I think.
Yeah.
It was years ago.
I need some private
You
lessons.
should try it again.
There's lessons.
I haven't thought about private lessons. I should probably do that.
Yeah.
There are some months where I don't teach with Vogue, so I could throw in some private thing, I guess. That is all right. Private lessons.
Yeah, don't throw on some privates.
Private lessons.
With the new boo.
Well, that's usually how it is with a new boo.
Okay, yeah, okay.
We talk about boos a lot on this podcast.
I haven't had a new boo in like 25 years, so I'm good.
We won't encourage you to deviate.
So this is the plum.
Is this regular
Pepper.
or?
This is regular crochet.
Okay.
See, I do regular crochet
You
too.
posted
Yeah.
this.
Mhm.
Okay.
So this is going to be out on the Stitch and Hustle blog in June. It has a modest V-neck, so it's not all like deep V. Just enough that you're not choking.
I like that.
And then it has
Just enough so you're not
Yeah.
choking.
just no choking. And it has a high-low hem. So the back of it comes down lower than the front.
So is that done through
That's a
short
bit-
rows?
No. Nope. It's a side-to-side construction. So you're actually
Okay.
working
Oh.
from side to side.
Okay, now that
So this
makes
is
sense.
just increases and decreases in the back.
Okay.
cool.
And then a little waist shaping, a little detail there.
I
So
love
that'll
that.
be free on the Stitch and Hustle blog when it's released next month.
Nice.
Nice.
And this is made out of We Crochet Cotton. So it's a cotton linen blend.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
basically, very comfortable for the summer.
Yeah. And you said that's coming out soon.
Yes.
And skill level for that?
Beginner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because I know there are a lot of beginner fiber enthusiasts who want to make garments, but they feel intimidated to do so. It looks harder than it is.
Yeah.
Actually. And you
It's
have
not.
some that are harder, but you know, it's a matter of you see this thing come up in a pattern, you YouTube it, and then you practice. So
Yeah.
it takes a
It's
lot
not
of
hard.
patience.
It's just new.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So I'd like to, I'm going to keep saying it, like make things that are not boxes,
Mm-hmm.
but are still easy enough for a beginner to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might see like different shapes,
Mm-hmm.
and different details on any of my designs. But somebody that's just starting out, if you can make the stitch,
Mm-hmm.
you can do it.
Yeah.
So Natalie, I have a question. So, do you have design ideas in your head, like shapes and features
Mm-hmm.
first, or does yarn inspire the design, or like what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
It can happen both ways for me.
Okay.
Like I don't have a one set way of being inspired by something. So sometimes it's the yarn, and I'll sit and I'll look at it for a while, and something comes to my mind, and then sometimes I have the idea. I'll sketch it out in my chicken scratch because I cannot draw. But I know what it's supposed to be, so
Right.
that's all that matters. And then I'll make it.
So
Or find the yarn for it then.
that was really fun to see because I know last year, like literally the day before the pandemic became, I think, real here. It was already real, but I think we were all in denial.
What is going on outside?
It's about to
Like a
storm.
tornado.
So we met up for a brunch, and I gifted you
Oh yeah.
three skeins of DK.
Mm-hmm.
It was a colorway I like created for you, the Tunisian desert colorway. And then it was like you could see the wheels spinning in your brain as you held these skeins. And
Yeah.
the top that you designed with it I was like blown away at how cool that design was.
Yeah, sometimes it can happen like that. I will hold some yarn and then suddenly I can see it. Usually ideas come like right before I go to sleep. Like literally my eyes are closing, I see it, I wake up, I write it down, and then I go back to sleep.
So do you keep like a notebook next to your...
Mhm.
Yeah, like a good writer does.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Have you seen Kirby's project book? She has like this spiral bound project book.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be good for you. She has the one with the graph
I
paper.
need to get it in
Uh-huh.
her last update, and I fell asleep.
Yeah,
I was
that's
so upset.
I'm
Oh,
excited
wow.
for her next one because she's having, I think, color options for the covers.
I
Yeah,
know.
there was a brick colored one.
And I got the first one, and I was like, oh man, and it's gonna take me forever. I actually need to make some notes on this. I made some notes on this, so I actually need to like use it so I can get a new one. Just so I can get a new one.
You don't have to use it just to get a new one. You can get a new one if you want one.
I know, but then it's just going to sit there like all of the other stuff that I have. So
Yeah. And when she posted pictures of the color options, I thought one was orange, and she was like, well, it's not really orange. Like, she sent me a DM. She's like, it's not really orange. It's like more like a brick red. I was like, it's close enough to orange for
that
me,
is
and I want it.
cute. That is so cute. Yeah, she has like this olive green. I love olive green. This is like this color that I really want, and I think that she also added a dot paper option, which I really love. Dot paper.
Yeah.
You're using your old sock to measure how your new sock should be.
Look at that.
That's good. Do you like how these fit?
Yeah.
Okay, because you have to make sure you measure it up against a sock that you like how it fit. I need to pick my socks back up. I have 2 pair of socks, and I actually have some socks that I've been trying to knit for Pride for the last 2 years that I have not. I keep missing it, and I'm like, oh, okay, next year. This year, I am going to cast those socks on because I keep forgetting.
Yeah, I just need to find my socks.
I'm sure you'll find
My
them.
one sock.
Yeah.
Because the one I actually completed is not in the project bag. It is sitting on my desk.
So I obsess over where my things are every night before I go to bed. So that could never happen to me.
Yeah, I'm only organized with crochet stuff.
Okay. I'm organized with everything. Every crochet hook, every crochet project, every knit, every stitch marker,
So,
everything.
I can't do
so
that.
do you want to talk a little bit about your project bag thing, or is that top secret?
I didn't bring a regular project bag.
But the bags that
Well,
you're making.
I could insert a photo that you posted.
Yeah,
What was
because
it?
you had some photos
weeks
of
ago.
some
Yeah.
projects that you're making, and you're like adding to your shop.
I am going to add them to my shop. It was kind of like the same thing that happened with you. You were like, I need a bag, and so I'm going to make a bag because I have a sewing machine.
I didn't need a bag. I just needed something to do
Oh.
because I got plenty of bags.
Okay. Well, actually,
Too
I
many.
didn't.
Okay.
I did not have project bags.
Oh, wow.
And I needed a bag, and so I made one, and then I was looking at it like, okay, I need to tweak this.
So we were talking about the sock knit along, which I know, let's see, we're the end of May, so I think July 1st is like our first deadline to have your first sock done. I want to
Probably
say.
do that.
So, I know I do have some prizes. I probably will tease them on the next episode. So, that gives you guys about a month to get your first sock done and post it on Instagram using the hashtag, or there's a Ravelry group.
Mm-hmm.
I know Natalie has shown us her first sock.
I haven't.
I'm working on mine.
You're working on yours.
I'm almost to the toe portion. So
okay.
I'm grooving.
Yeah.
I did,
And especially being ribbing. I think that's the biggest thing.
I did the heel. So
Mhm.
I got past the heel and life is good.
Yeah, once you get past the heel, I feel like it's smooth sailing, and then you can keep trying it on to see where you are with your toes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I did shorties.
Yeah. That's a good
We
idea.
should have had a rule for shorties, actually.
What kind of rule?
Because it's because you can do shorties really
Well, you know
quick.
what?
But y'all let people
or
use
maybe-
sock tubes, didn't you?
The whole.
Do a crank machine?
Yeah.
I don't think that counts.
I thought y'all did. Somebody said that you could do tubes. I'm like, oh, I asked and they said I could do a tube. So
I don't know who that person was.
Because
I can't
with the tube, I guess you still have to do the toe and the heel.
And that's what I was gonna say. The whole point of like the whole skill in a sock is the heel and the toe.
yeah.
It's not the rest of it.
Mhm.
okay, well my shorties still have a heel and a toe.
Exactly. So I
Okay,
think
you're
you
in
check
by
off
default.
the boxes.
You're in by default. I mean, I can't deny you now. So
Yeah.
you know, all inclusive, all shapes and sizes of socks.
Yeah.
Shorties, tallies, whatever you want to call them.
Exactly.
So I actually need to pick my sock back up. I have been working to finish a couple projects that I want finished by this week. So I put my knit collage on pause. I put my socks on pause. And I plan on picking everything back up this week. And then I have 2 weeks off in the end of June and beginning of July. And I always say this, but I don't do it. But I imagine that I can get a lot of knitting done. But I also have some wood signs to do.
You have
Some
crafts.
cards to make, some onesies to make. So I just have a ton of stuff that I need to get done. And honestly, yesterday I didn't get any crafting done. I didn't knit not one time
That's
yesterday.
a bad day.
I know, but I was so busy and just kind of like chilled out. I mean, if you want to count undoing the bind off on this because it was too tight and redoing it, I did that because I can't have something tight. I mean, I can have something tight down here, that's okay, but something tight right here isn't going to work. So I had to do
Well, you
stretchy
ripped
bind
out.
off.
You ripped out a bind off, but I ripped out a whole sweater.
Oh yeah.
And for posterity, I'll show you what's left of it because I lost all steam on ripping out, and this was what was left.
Is that all, sir?
Did you lose a lot of yarn? So
It's mohair.
you know, I lost a lot of yarn when I ripped out my Sunday sweater. Like, some yarn just isn't easy to frost.
This was terrible, and I tried putting it in the freezer, but probably not for long enough.
Oh, is that a method?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I saved my yarn. It's good. It's back into a new project. This was my
That's good.
puff tee. I'm gonna try not to. It wasn't the designer. It was me. I think my gauge was off. I don't know what was happening. Things just weren't going well, and I wasn't enjoying it. And I took a page out of Natalie's book. Natalie, if it wasn't for you and I being friends, I would have literally
Tried to plow through it.
Well, I did, and then, sorry, I'm reaching for something I want to show. I would have cried, but now it's, you know me, I love Jessie May patterns, so now that mohair is a Cozy Classic Light in progress. I'll show it next time for the sake of time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I had that, my socks on a trip last week. I went to Colorado to see my mom, so I got some nice knitting time done. And I went to a couple of yarn shops in Colorado, so that was fun.
I bet.
Let's see. Oh, and since life is opening up again, I'm vending at the Tip of the Mitt Fiber Festival in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, that's in June.
In Petoskey, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like in the Chicago area or even, you know, Wisconsin, whatever, stop on by, say hey.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, are you going by yourself, or are you gonna take your husband, or how are you gonna do that?
So I actually have a girlfriend who's gonna come with me.
Okay.
And help me, you know, like set up the booth and mind the booth if I have to. She's not a knitter or a crocheter yet.
Oh, well, maybe this is the trip that will get her into something, and then she can tell her fibers journey.
She doesn't yet know how she's going to be influenced. I mean, we all have that one experience that, like, pushed us into, you know, it being a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I was young. I was 10, so when I got introduced to yarn, it wasn't necessarily knit or crochet. It was yarn, and like Natalie, I said, I know it's more that I can do with this. And so then I became super addicted, and here we are right now.
You know, the virtual things like, you know, the Vogues that you've been teaching at Natalie, I think it's so good that they came out of the pandemic, and I'm sure they're going to stick around at least in some shape and form, because you've been able to reach people that, you know, otherwise maybe it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And I know for me, like, I've vended at several virtual things. I just did India Entangled's Spotlight last weekend. And, oh, speaking of, since you guys are watching the episode, FYI, you're the first to know that kit is going to be available to the public starting tomorrow.
Oh, I love that yarn.
I want that.
You want that kit? I got it. I got it. When I saw it, I was like, I gotta have this kit. I gotta have this bag, because of course I don't need any more bags, but I needed that bag because it was cute with little sweaters on it. So yeah, I can't wait to knit that up. I don't know what I'm going to make yet. I think I know, but I don't know for sure because I change my mind a lot. So
yeah,
that's allowed. You can do that.
Yeah. Natalie, are you considering going to Vogue in January in New York and teaching, or Vogue Chicago or something like that?
I would consider it.
Okay.
But probably
you're open.
Chicago.
Probably Chicago.
Yeah, but they are going to continue virtual even after going back into in person.
Yeah, because not everyone can travel.
Right, as an extension of what they're already doing. Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
Nice.
I want to go to Vogue in New York at least one time.
Yeah, that's like one of those bucket lists.
Yeah, I love New York. I love Vogue, and those two together would be the perfect love affair.
I think it would be interesting. The only thing about doing it in person is that they were saying that they didn't get a whole lot of interest in crochet classes in person. So
sign me up for yours though. Like, I need to pre-register. Okay.
So I don't know if they're going to offer crochet classes in person.
Okay.
They didn't sell well.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I've never taken a class.
Why
Have you? Not because I know it all, but nothing has sparked my interest that I haven't been able to self-teach. Because I process the way that I process things and learn how to do things. I don't know if a class would move fast enough for me.
That's where I like the idea of or like I'm a small class person, like
a one-on-one. Like I've done a one-on-one with someone, but I've never been a part of a class. Mainly because of how I process things. I don't know if it'll move like fast enough for me.
I think that most people that do take classes are taking it more so for the community and like meeting new people, because it's hard to meet people as an adult. So
it is.
Like,
like I bet even with your virtual, just to see another newbie's hands doing it must feel very encouraging.
Yeah, and they get a chance to like ask questions and like see my hands demonstrating it over and over again. And that's a little different from in-person classes where people are sitting like in front of you and then you're trying to like explain it. And then you can walk around to each person
and check their work
and check it. But for me, I actually like the virtual setting because everyone can see it at once, and then I can do it over and over again.
Do you or Vogue send out a recording of the class after?
No.
To refer back to?
They're not recorded. It's
Oh,
live
okay.
only. Yeah.
So do you have like one camera showing your face and one showing your hands?
Yes.
Nice.
I need to do more tutorials for YouTube.
Oh, that would be nice. I would watch them.
Like, did you even know I had a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, because you posted was it the headband? It was something Tunisian I remember you posted a while ago when you first started, and when you say that you've posted a video, I'll go and watch it.
Yeah, there's like hardly anything on there, but I need to do more.
Okay.
Do a little better.
Do you have anything that you want to do?
That I want
More
to do
of?
besides dyeing more yarn
Mm-hmm.
and knitting more. I honestly do want to spend more time with my Tunisian crochet
Mm-hmm.
because I love the fabric it produces, and like I said, watching Natalie's hands move. I mean, I continental knit, and the movement is very similar. So that is something, and so many of Natalie's designs, I'm like gaga over. Every time, like, what was that shawl that you released a few months ago and everyone was talking about a certain stitch?
Was that the one that was hard?
That's the Despite. I actually have it with me too. That's funny.
Uh-huh.
Show us. Because that was, everybody was talking about it.
So.
And I was like, I want in on this. So I need to get my butt in gear and learn it. How gorgeous
was
is
this the one where you said it was not for a beginner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not a beginner.
Not for me.
And look how it coordinates
But
with your top.
I learned pretty quick, so.
Well, it comes with a video, so that is one thing
That's helpful.
I do. Like my patterns always come with a video tutorial.
Okay.
That's amazing.
So-
And I think any level can appreciate that. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced, I think that a video with a pattern, like if I go to a pattern and they say there are videos to it, I'm like on it. Like zipper sweater, there's a video. It's not in English, but you can see what's happening, and I'm like, good. I'm a visual learner.
Yeah, so this stitch here, like in this groove, is the Tunisian reverse purl stitch.
Okay.
Oh,
And
goodness.
yeah.
That's the one that got everybody all tripped up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just involved. You know, it takes a couple of steps to get it, and
It's so worth it though. That texture is amazing.
Yeah.
You know I love
it is.
texture.
Yeah.
Love all the texture.
I want to do more texture.
And those colors are just like
Yeah, this is Feisty Fibers.
Okay.
beautiful.
So my original was in her yarn as well. So this is the one that I did for the tea cow that we did.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
great.
didn't know if I was gonna finish it. I did though.
Isn't that the best feeling when you're like, I did it? Okay.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, I'm running this make
Yeah.
along and I'm not even
Nice.
gonna finish it. Like,
So do you have anything else to show and tell?
no, that's all I brought.
Well, those are some goodies.
Well, I think that is our time. Thank you for joining us.
This was fun.
This was
having me.
fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hang out with you again, whether it's here on the podcast or out in the world.
Yeah.
Sipping and stitching, hopefully soon. Do you have anything before we go?
I think I'll save it for the next episode.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.